Nothing bad happened today. That is the confusing part. No argument, no bad news, no reason you can point to and say, that is why I feel this way. Just an ordinary day with ordinary things in it, and you move through all of it, doing what needed doing, saying what needed saying, showing up where you were supposed to show up, and the whole time, underneath all of it, was this feeling like you were carrying something heavy that nobody around you could see because it has no shape, no name, no obvious cause, just weight. And the weight was not from today. It has been there for a while. You are not sad exactly. You are not angry. You are not having a breakdown. You are just tired in a way that has nothing to do with how much you slept. Tired of the effort, tired of the maintenance, tired of waking up and doing all of it. Again, if you know that feeling, this is for you. There is a kind of tiredness that most people never talk about. Not because it is rare, because it is almost impossible to explain without people responding in ways that make everything harder. It is the tiredness of existing itself, not burnout from too much work, not sadness about something specific, not a bad week that just needs time to pass, something deeper, something that has been sitting underneath ordinary days for longer than you can clearly remember when it started. And the people who feel it are not always people whose lives look difficult from the outside. Some of them have good jobs, people who love them, lives that on paper have everything they were supposed to have, and they still feel it, that quiet, persistent weight, that sense that existing requires more from them than they have left to give. This is not weakness. This is not attention seeking. This is a real psychological experience that deserves to be spoken about honestly, instead of quietly carried by people who have never heard it named. Here's what it actually is, where it comes from, and what genuinely helps. Psychologists call this existential exhaustion. The name sounds complicated. The idea is simple. It is the tiredness that comes, not from what you are doing, but from the weight of doing anything at all. From being conscious, from being responsible, for maintaining yourself every single day without end. Think about what being a person actually requires. Every day, you have to feed yourself, clean yourself, show up to things, talk to people, make decisions, manage how you feel, process what happened, carry what is unresolved, and then do it all again tomorrow. For most people, this is just the background of life. They move through it without thinking. But some people, at some point, become very aware of the mechanics of it, the repetition, the effort. The fact that there is no moment where it is simply finished, and you can stop, and once you see it that clearly, it is very hard to unsee. People who carry this tiredness often describe life as feeling like a performance they never chose to be part of. They show up. They do the things. They say what needs saying, but inside there is a gap between what they are doing and any feeling that what they are doing means anything. And maintaining that gap day after day is its own exhausting work. This does not happen for one reason. It almost always happens through accumulation, years of trying, and things not changing the way they were supposed to, years of hoping, and watching the hope slowly wear down into something quieter, years of being told things will get better, while they stayed the same long enough that believing they would get better started to feel like something only someone who hadn't been through this would still say. Sometimes it comes from loss, not necessarily one large dramatic loss, but the slow accumulation of smaller ones, small disappointments, small moments where you needed something and it wasn't there, small experiences that taught you, gradually, without anyone meaning to teach you this, that the world does not adjust itself for your pain, that you are going to have to carry most of what you carry on your own. And carrying things alone for long enough produces a specific kind of tired that no amount of sleep reaches. Sometimes it comes from understanding too much, from seeing clearly how things actually work, the unfairness, the randomness, the fact that so much of what happens to people has very little to do with what they deserve. When you see that clearly, and you cannot unsee it, generating energy for ordinary life starts to require more than ordinary life seems worth. And sometimes there is no clear reason at all. Something shifts internally, brain chemistry changes, and suddenly everything feels heavier than it did without anything specific having changed around you. All of these paths lead somewhere similar. A tiredness that is not about today and not about any one thing, but about the accumulation of everything over too long without enough rest, without enough support, without enough moments where the weight actually lifted. Here is the part that makes this so hard to carry. You cannot really say it, not accurately, not without the conversation going somewhere you did not intend. If you say, "I am tired of existing," people panic. They think you mean something more serious. They want to help immediately in ways that are more about their discomfort than about what you actually need. They treat you differently afterward in a way that adds another thing to what you are already managing, but what you are saying is not what they are hearing. There is a real difference between wanting to stop existing and being exhausted by the effort of existing. One is wanting an ending. The other is wanting rest, wanting permission to stop performing for a while, to stop being responsible for how okay you appear to the people around you, to just exist at whatever you have left without it meaning something is catastrophically wrong. But there is no easy way to say that, so most people do not say it. They function. They do what is expected. They answer fine when asked and carry the actual answer quietly, alone in the space between who they appear to be and how everything actually feels. And the hiding costs something too, on top of everything else. It costs something to be this tired and still have to look like you are not. Every morning before anything else, there is a negotiation, not the alarm in getting up. A negotiation. Do I have to do all of it today? Can I do less? What is the minimum that gets me through? And then the slow, heavy process of talking yourself into starting, into the first thing, which leads to the second thing, which leads to another day, getting done, not because you wanted to, because stopping is not really an available option. Every interaction costs something. Small talk that other people seem to do effortlessly feels like a task you have to complete, rather than a thing that just happens. Pretending interest in ordinary things feels like carrying something uphill in shoes that do not fit. Someone asks how you are, you say fine. And somewhere in the saying of it, something is spent. Because fine is not true, and you know it, and saying it anyway, costs something small every time, and the small things pile up. Not because the tasks are hard exactly, because everything requires effort, and the effort ran out a long time ago, and people around you do not see this. They do not see the negotiation happening before every ordinary thing. They do not see how much it costs just to be here and appear normal while feeling the way you feel. This is not a character flaw. This is not what you are as a person. This is what happened to a person who gave a lot for a long time without enough coming back to replenish what was being spent. Psychologists have documented something called learned helplessness. The idea is straightforward. When a person tries to change things repeatedly and things do not change, the brain eventually stops generating the energy to try. Not because the person is weak, because the brain is logical. It learned from real evidence that effort did not produce the outcome effort was supposed to produce. And so it conserves. It stops generating hope because hope was expensive and the return was not reliable enough to justify what it cost. People who are tired of existing are almost always people who tried to feel better, who tried to find meaning in the ordinary things, who tried to want what they were supposed to want, and who got worn down by trying in circumstances that did not always meet the trying with what trying deserved. That is not weakness. That is a person who kept going, long past the point where they had enough left to keep going from. And understanding that changes what this tiredness means. It does not mean something is permanently wrong with you. It means something ran out that deserved to be replenished. Long before now, the first thing that helps is having it named. Knowing that what you feel is a real thing with a real name that other people feel too, in the same specific way, even though almost nobody says it out loud. You are not uniquely broken. You are not the only person who has ever felt too tired to be a person You are someone experiencing something documented and understood and real. The second thing that helps is permission. Permission to not be okay. Not someone telling you that you will feel better soon. Not someone offering solutions before they have sat with you long enough to understand what they are solving. Just someone who can say, "I see how tired you are," and mean it without immediately trying to fix it. Because sometimes being genuinely seen by one person in one moment makes the wait slightly more bearable. Not gone, not solved, just slightly less alone. Professional support matters here, more than most people allow themselves to pursue it. Therapy specifically approaches that work with meaning and the weight of existing, rather than just surface behavior, can help rebuild a relationship with life that feels sustainable again. And the third thing is small things, not goals, not plans, not pressure to want more when wanting anything at all already costs too much. Just small things that make the present moment slightly less heavy. A warm drink, a few minutes outside, something that asks nothing of you and offers something small without requiring anything in return. Not because small things fix the large thing, because surviving the present moment is enough to ask of yourself right now. Nothing bad happened today, and you still felt it. That weight, that tiredness, that specific heaviness that has no shape and no single cause and no simple explanation that you could give someone without seeing their expression change in a way you were not prepared to manage. You are not broken. You are a person who has been carrying something for a long time, without enough rest, without enough people around you who understood what you were actually carrying. The tiredness is real. It is in your body, in your nervous system, in the part of you that has been quietly managing everything while showing the world a version of fine that cost you more than it looked like it cost. You are allowed to be this tired. You are allowed to exist at whatever capacity you have today without it meaning you have failed at something. You are allowed to do less and call it enough, because right now, enough is actually enough. This tiredness, as permanent as it feels, does not have to be permanent. Not because you will force it to change, not because someone will say the right thing and everything will shift, but because things do shift slowly, sometimes without you noticing, until you look back and realize something is slightly lighter than it was. And you are still here. Through all the wait, through all the ordinary days that cost more than they should have, through all the times you did not think you had enough left and turned out to have just enough, you are still here. And that, after everything, is not a small thing. That is the whole thing.